Funding for stress-free cooking is brought to you by Cutco. Cutco has been making high-quality products in Olean, New York since 1949. Cutco's straight-edge blades are durable, flexible, and hold a razor-sharp edge. And by Melissa's. Established in 1984, Melissa's World Variety Produce is currently the largest distributor of specialty produce in the United States. You could depend on Melissa's for delivering great quality products in fruits and vegetables.
Hi, I'm Barbara Seelig-Brown. Welcome to Stress-Free Cooking. What I want you to do is come home from work, put on your bunny slippers, pour a glass of wine, and cook with me. Hi, I'm Barbara Seelig-Brown. Welcome to Stress-Free Cooking. Today we're going to be taking a little tour of the Veneto in Italy. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to enjoy a sip of Prosecco, which is the bubbly wine from the Veneto. Venetians drink this at any time of the day. In fact, there are a lot of bars in Venice where you can stop and have a little Prosecco, or a shadow as they call it, and a little bit of an hors d'oeuvre or antipasto that they call cicchetti, which means little bite. So what I thought I would do today is to demonstrate a couple of cicchetti, and then we're going to take a tour of the Italian Trade Commission, and we'll talk about the wine, food, and cheese from the region of the Veneto. So let's talk first about a typical cicchetti, which would be a risotto ball or an arancini. Arancini means orange. It looks like a little orange when it's done. So what I'm going to do is I have cooked some risotto, and you could do this with leftover risotto. This risotto has the cheeses from the Veneto and from Valtellina. There's a caserza in here, and there's also some Parmigiano in here. I have some chopped pancetta that I've sauteed, and what I'm going to do is I cool down my risotto, and then I take and drop it into flour, and then some egg white or whole egg. I just happen to have some egg whites left over from another project, so I'm going to use the egg whites, and then into the breadcrumbs. And I have some oil here for deep frying. I rarely deep fry, but this is one of those things that's really worth it. So you want to make sure that your oil is anywhere from 350 to 400 degrees so that it's nice and hot, and it will hold your little risotto balls together. So, these are already done. So we're going to pop these into the oil. And they'll just take a couple of minutes. You want them nice and golden brown or sort of a reddish orange. Okay. And I'm going to take my thermometer out of here now that I know what the temperature is. Okay. So we're going to let those cook for just a few minutes. Let me just move the rest of this out of the way. And I'm going to give my hands a quick wash because I am full of egg. But before I do that, I'm going to get these sausage balls going. So typical appetizers of the Veneto would be sausage balls, rice balls, lots of cheese, olives, and you'd stop into one of the little bars along the Grand Canal, and you'd have your Prosecco and your cicchetti, and then you'd be on to the next site. So while those are cooking, I'm just going to wash my hands. So now that we have everything in the pan, we're just going to toss these around and see how they're doing. Okay. Now that I'm standing here and I'm watching this, I'm going to turn my oil up just a bit. The hotter it is, the less oil the food's going to absorb. But you do want to be careful if you are deep frying that it just doesn't get away from you. So keep that thermometer handy in case you think this is getting too hot. Now my sausage balls are just basically a good quality hot sausage. You could use hot, you could use sweet, whatever it is that you like. And then they'll just take a couple of minutes to cook. You could also do this in a really hot oven. You could put this in your convection oven. Convection ovens have a fan in them. They keep the heat circulating. So if I turned my convection oven up to about 425, pop them on a parchment lined baking sheet, put them in the oven for about 8 minutes or so, I'd get nicely browned sausage balls. But I'm gonna do these on top of the stove today just because it's easier for us to see. Turn that up a little. And our arancini are cooking nicely. Cooking is all about sight and sound and smell. You need all of your senses. So I can tell by the sound of this oil that these are cooking perfectly. So let's check those again. Now don't forget the risotto is already cooked. So really all I'm trying to do here is crisp these up and melt the cheese inside. And I often make these ahead, cool them down, and then I freeze them. And then when I need to reheat them, I have emergency hors d'oeuvres. I could take a couple of these out of the freezer, defrost them, put them in a hot oven, and I have an instant delicious hors d'oeuvre to serve to friends who might stop by for a glass of Prosecco. Risotto is really easy to make, it just takes time. So when I'm making my risotto, I start out with a little extra virgin olive oil, some chopped onion, and then I add my rice. I add about a cup of rice to the pan and get it very well coated with the olive oil. And the trick to risotto is taking your time, but also using hot stock. So I mix about 1 cup of wine and 4 cups of chicken stock, put them in a pan, heat it up, and then you just slowly add that to the rice. And as the rice absorbs the wine and the stock, it will cook. And some people like their risotto soupy, some people like it really tight, and some people like it al dente like pasta. I like mine a little al dente and a little soupy. But for something like this, I want it a little tighter so that the rice balls will stick together. Okay, so we're just gonna give that another minute. And let's check on the sausage. Now you could do your sausage balls even with turkey sausage if you want to, but sometimes you just can't beat the flavor of a really good hot Italian sausage. Now my oil is getting really hot, starting to spit a little bit, so I'm going to turn this pan off. Those are just about done. Alrighty, let's take a peek. So our rice balls are done. Let me grab a piece of paper towel. I want to drain these really well, especially if I'm going to freeze them. And I'm using a slotted spoon so that I don't put any more oil on this plate than I need. So you just have that really nice, pretty, orangey golden color here. And then I'll take one of the sausage balls or two and put them on a plate so we can get a good look. Turn that off, turn your oil off. Grab a fork, and I'm going to cut into one of these so you can see what the inside of the risotto ball looks like. So you can see it's nice and creamy and all the cheese is nice and melted. So let's head over to the Italian Trade Commission where we're going to talk a lot more about food, wine, and cheese from the Veneto. Hi, I'm Barbara Seelig-Brown. Welcome to Stress-Free Cooking. Today we are going to go and make a very special visit to a good friend of mine, Dr. Agnello Musella, who is the Italian Trade Commissioner in New York City. So I'm excited. Come on along. Buongiorno.
Buongiorno, Barbara. It's really a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. It's my honor to be here with you.
Yeah.
And we're going to get to talk about wonderful, authentic Italian products. And then I'm going to get to cook for you, which is really a treat for me.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm already hungry for that.
Oh, well, thank you.
I mean, I see such amazing things, Italian products all around.
Yes.
What
well,
are you going to do with that?
I'm so glad you decided to come over here and snoop around.
Yeah.
We're going to have a little surprise for you in a few minutes. First, what I'm going to do is talk to my viewers about these authentic Italian cheeses and some balsamic and some extra virgin olive oil, and then I'm going to make you a little surprise. So I know you have a lot of work to do. I'm going to surprise you in about, maybe 10 minutes,
Well,
okay?
I'm sure that will be a great surprise with this amazing, authentic Italian product. I'm sure of that.
Well, I hope we do our job for
I'm
you.
sure.
Okay, we'll see you in a few.
Yes.
Okay, bye-bye. Well, I'm considering myself very, very lucky because we're going to have a little impromptu wine and cheese party. I have some good friends here. Sabrina Nicola from La Cucina Italiana magazine. Margaret Ciccone from Atalanta Corporation. Margaret is a cheese expert, and as you can tell, we're going to get a great cheese lesson. Phil Schiavone is back. He's going to tell us a little bit about the wine that he thinks is going to go with all these cheeses. So actually, Phil, why don't we have you tell us about the wine first? So what did you pick to go with all these wonderful cheeses?
Well, we picked a very interesting wine from the Veneto region of Italy. It's called Robusto is the name of the grape. And it's a very, very classic old grape variety from the Veneto going back to the time of the Roman Empire. And I think it will pair very, very nicely with all the cheeses, and in particular the cheeses from the Veneto.
Great. So location.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, well, cheers. Thank you all for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
So Margaret,
Yes.
I'm sure you have a lot to share with us.
Well, I'll try not to overdo it. I'm talking about my favorite subject, which are the cheeses from Italy, and in particular from the Veneto, which I have learned a lot about. I've learned to love it, and it is very interesting, and it has some of the most wonderful cheeses. I'd like to start with the one over here, Grana Padano. This Grana Padano is made in the Veneto. I want to also say that Grana Padano, not many people realize it, but it is Italy's most important cheese. It covers all of northern Italy, and this one comes from the Veneto. In the Veneto, it covers most of the Veneto, right up Trentino and almost to the Austrian border. They're allowed to make it. It's used in, it's a very old cheese. It goes back to the year 1000. It was created by the Cistercian monks who were in Lombardy. They had a beautiful monastery. They cleared up the lands. They brought in the animals and they made cheese. This was a way of preserving the milk and the nutritional value of the milk, and Grana Padano was born. It is very, very famous and delicious. It's used a lot in cooking. It's also used in snacking. You can put balsamic on it. All right, another cheese from the Veneto, very, very important, is Asiago. Now, we hear a lot about Asiago in this country, but Asiago originated in Asiago, which is an actual town, in a magnificent plateau. It's called the Altopiano di Asiago, meaning the high plateau of Asiago. It's in the Prealps of the Dolomites. And its origins were actually, there are many theories, but they were German tribes that came down to this beautiful, very fertile lands, and it was part of the Republic of Venice for a while. It was an autonomous region by itself, and this is where Asiago was born. Here you have the fresh Asiago, also called Asiago Pressato. Today they refer to it more as fresh. They make another type of Asiago in the Veneto. Today we have the fresh. This one is aged, very important, 20 to 30 days. It's a large wheel. It's made with whole cow's milk, pasteurized. It's wonderful in cooking, it's snacking, it melts beautifully, and it's a very, very important cheese for the Veneto.
I see you have some condimenti here.
Yes, I've put some condimenti, as you say, and they are from the Veneto. It is the habit to eat today cheeses with mustard sauces, with fruits, with candied fruits, with dried fruits, with fig sauces that have a little mustard in them, or actual mostarda di frutta, which is candied fruits with mustard in them. And these come from the Veneto, so I'm sticking all in that region. Not to confuse, I just want to mention the other type of Asiago. The other Asiago, by law, has to be made with raw milk. One eats it around 5 months, and I didn't have it today also because the fresh Asiago is more unusual in the United States. They don't make it in the United States. They make Asiago, and it resembles more the aged one. So to really show the beauty of Asiago and Veneto, I like to talk more about the fresh one. I also want to mention that these cheeses are DOP. What does DOP mean? This is very important. It means Denominazione di Origine Protetta. In English, it goes PDO, Protected Designation of Origin. This is a regulation. It's actually European Union now. The cheese has to be made in a very specific area. With Grana, it's large. With certain cheeses, it can be an area of 50 square kilometers, depending. That cheese has to be made with the milk from that area. The cows have to have grazed in that area. The cheese has to be produced in that area, aged in that area, and packed in that area. There is a consortium, important, government, federal, for each one of these cheeses. They control everything. They observe, they test each cheese when it is ready to be determined whether it makes it or not. And if they think it's DOP, they brand it. So all of these cheeses have a brand on them.
On the outside, you have
On the
their
outside,
name.
their name, but they have a brand.
So when you
Each
talk about
consortium.
authentic Italian products, if you look for the seal, and you
Yes.
know you're getting the
That's
authentic
right.
Italian cheese.
This one, for instance, the Piave, this is a wonderful cheese. It's absolutely delicious, it's unique, it's a win-win situation. It has just recently been made a DOP, so it's one of the new arrivals to Italy's list of DOPs. This cheese is named for the river Piave. Actually, the Rebozo is made on the banks of the grapes. The river Piave is a very important thing for Italy. It is a river that runs from Austria through the Dolomites, through the Veneto, and out into the Adriatic. It is also historically the scene of a very important victory for Italy. Italy was badly losing the war, the First World War. They'd had a big defeat in the Austro-Hungarian territories, and they retreated to the Piave. They won a huge battle at the Piave, and this changed everything for Italy. It was the fall of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. A part of Austria became Italy, and Italy had won this wonderful battle. So this is called Piave because the cows that make the milk that goes into this cheese graze along the banks of the river Piave, and this is so beautiful. This is all through the Dolomites. If you saw it, it's incredible.
It is a gorgeous region. I've been up there, and it's
Yeah,
just so lush.
beautiful.
There's so much flora and fauna. It's so beautiful.
The cheese plant is right on the banks of the river Piave. This is one of their masterpieces, so what better name could they give it than Piave?
This is actually one of my favorite
Yes,
cheeses.
it's beautiful.
Whenever I serve this at a party at home, people always want to know
Yes.
exactly what that cheese is. Sabrina, did you enjoy that?
I love it.
Yes,
Love it. Thank
it's
you.
so fruity. Some people eat it fresh, some people eat it at 6 months or 8 months. When you see it with this label, it is extra aged, Stravecchio. It gives it that extra depth and
Probably a little nuttier flavor.
yeah, it's
little-
nutty, it's fruity, and you know, when you talk to the cheesemakers and the farmers. They will explain to you how in each cheese it's reflected what the cows have been grazing on in these wonderful pastures. It's a wonderful thing when you talk to them, you know.
That's great.
Quickly, we're going to go to another magnificent region,
Okay.
Tuscany, and this is the famous Pecorino Toscano, DOP again.
Yes.
And they make a fresh one, which is aged 20 to 30 days, DOP. They make an aged one, Stagionato, which is aged 3 to 4 months, and they also have one which is aged about 8 months. This particular one is rubbed with olive oil, extra virgin Tuscan olive oil, wide ages. Also DOP, totally different, and these are all sheep.
Pecorino equals sheep.
A pecora is a sheep.
Yes.
And so pecorino is a... Lastly, not to forget this guy over here.
Beautiful big wheel of cheese.
Oh, and this comes from a beautiful region. We're back in the mountains, north of Milano, in Lombardy. It's called Valtellina, the region. And this cheese is called Casera. It's a lovely cheese.
It's
also,
a very creamy cheese.
And it's DOP also.
I love this cheese. I love the red wine that comes from there,
Oh,
the
yes,
Sforzato.
Sforzato,
And
yes.
I'm thinking that in a future show we need to talk more about Valtellina.
And I think maybe you should cook some pizzoccheri.
Oh,
Which
yes.
Pizzoccheri.
Oh, yes. Lou
Pizzoccheri.
DiPaolo just showed me that he has some.
They are from La Valtellina.
Oh,
They're made
nice.
with a
That would be
special
so much
grape,
fun.
and they go back to the Celtic times because the Celts inhabited that area.
Wow. Well, I just want to say thank you to all of you for joining us for our little cheese tour of Italy and enjoying some rebozo with us. Margaret, thank you so much for all of your wonderful cheese wisdom. And Sabrina and Phil, thank you for joining me. It was fun having you. I hope you enjoyed the cheeses. Even on a rainy day, these cheeses are terrific, aren't they?
That's right.
So I'm going to whip up a very quick little salad. I'm going to use some endive and some radicchio. And these are some of the bitter greens, but I'm also going to put some apple in here so that it sweetens it up. I'm going to put some balsamic vinegar in here to sweeten it up, and I'll toss it with some of that pecorino. So it will give us just a nice variety of flavors. And then we're going to surprise on Dr. Musella with a burger that's stuffed with pecorino and this lovely salad. So endive, radicchio, a little apple. And we'll slice this really thin. Okay, let's get the center out of there. And just keep slicing away, nice and thin. That's gonna give us some sweetness, but we're also gonna get some sweetness from the balsamic. A little salt and pepper. And I have some salt and pepper already mixed together in this bowl, so it's a shortcut for me. It makes my cooking a lot easier. Some balsamic first before the extra virgin olive oil, and just, sprinkle it all over the ingredients. Add just a little bit of the extra virgin olive oil, just a little sprinkle. Usually it's about 2 times the amount of extra virgin olive oil to the balsamic. And we'll toss this with our tongs. We get lots of beautiful color in here. And once that's mixed well, I'm gonna add some of my pecorino. So I'll slice this nice and thin. And because everything in the salad is really in julienne strips, I'm gonna try and do the same thing with my cheese. So in we go. This salad could also just be a nice light entree all by itself. Or we could even add some grilled shrimp to this or grilled chicken if you wanted to. Okay. So I think we have plenty in there. And toss it again. Okay. Now our salad is all ready. Agnello, as a thank you for you welcoming us into your beautiful offices, I wanted to prepare a little something for you using authentic Italian ingredients, but with sort of an American inspiration.
Oh, this is very colorful. I like it very much, but I like especially the idea you had to mix authentic Italian products to make a traditional American dish. I think that this is very important for Italian products, that they go beyond the Italian cuisine as well.
Yes, into the American kitchen.
Yes.
And since we talk about stress-free cooking and how easy it is to prepare a meal at home when you have good quality products, they certainly do make your life easier. So what I've done is I took some radicchio, some endive, some apple, and some of the pecorino, and I mixed it together. I julienned everything, mixed it together, put a little bit of a balsamic vinegar dressing on it with some extra virgin olive oil, salt, and pepper. Very simple, very easy, very fresh. And then we made a classic burger and stuffed it with our pecorino. And instead of traditional American ketchup, I put a balsamic glaze on top of it.
What
And
a
it's
treat.
also on Italian bread as
Yeah.
opposed to a hamburger roll.
What a treat. I mean, the flavor is amazing. It's very inviting.
Oh,
so
thank
we are
you.
going to eat
Thank
it
you.
later on.
Buon appetito.
Buon appetito.
Thank you all for watching Stress-Free Cooking. I hope you'll join me again very soon.
Funding for Stress-Free Cooking is brought to you by Cutco. Cutco has been making high-quality products in Olean, New York since 1949. Cutco's straight-edge blades are durable, flexible, and hold a razor-sharp edge. And by Melissa's. Established in 1984, Melissa's World Variety Produce is currently the largest distributor of specialty produce in the United States. You could depend on Melissa's for delivering great quality products in fruits and vegetables.
Enjoy Barbara Seelig-Brown's cookbook as she shows you how to make stress-free dishes in the comfort of your own home. Offer made by Stress-Free Cooking for $19.95.